Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we'll be learning about random numbers. Now before we get started, let us understand why and where would we require random numbers. You might be having some data which you want the third party to analyze and give their insights to you so that you can accordingly improve your business. And the data that you have shared with the third party could be of your clients that you're handling or the products that you're handling. And some of them, or rather most of them, would be confidential. So you don't want the third party to know that these are all information related to a specific client. So they would be replacing all the information about the client, like his name or his unique identity number, and replace that with random numbers. And then they would be giving it to their consultant or a third party for the analysis. And once the analysis is done by the analyst and it is given back to you, then you would be replacing all those random numbers again with the client information, so that now you know which clients you have to target and which clients you know are likely going to discontinue using your product. So probably you have to do some marketing or promotional campaign with them. And there are many other reasons why sometimes we need to use random numbers. All right. So as far as random numbers are concerned, in R, we have this function called sample, SAMPLE. There it is. We can select X, which is nothing but the range of numbers that you want to get randomly generated from. So if I type 1 is to 100, so I'm saying I need numbers between 1 and 100. And how many of them do I want? I need 10 of them. And once I click on the run button, it gives me 10 random numbers between 1 and 100. Now, if I execute this again, it will give me 10 different random numbers. As and when I continue clicking this line, it will continue giving me different set of 10 numbers. That is why it is called random. Okay, now if I just assign it to a particular variable, we have all these values assigned to a variable called A. Now, whenever I type A, I will be getting those same numbers. There is another way in which we can generate random numbers. Now here what we have generated are all integers. Now if we want to generate fractions, the way we do that is there is a random uniform function in R, and once we use that, and here as we see, we can type n is nothing but the number of numbers that you want to generate. So if I just type 10 here, and if you see, the default is minimum 0 and maximum 1. So if I click on the run button, it will give me 10 random numbers between 0 and 1. Let me assign it to a variable b and execute this. So we have 10 set of integers in A and 10 set of fractions or decimals in B. Now if I want to find the sum of all these 10 numbers in A, we can just type the sum function in R, which is part of this base library, and inside that I can just pass this variable A and click on the run button. It will give me 351 is the sum of all these numbers. Similarly, I can also do a PROD, meaning the product of all these numbers. This is the product of all these 10 numbers in the variable A. If I only want those numbers that are greater than 60, what I can do here is I type the variable A, and just like in the square bracket, once we type 1 and execute the line, we get the first number. Let me just type A here so that we know what all numbers we have here. So A1 gives us the first number of this vector. Similarly, if I want all the numbers, or if I want only those numbers that are greater than 60, the way we do that in R is I select that vector, and in the square bracket, I want only those numbers greater than 60. So if I just type A greater than 60 and click on the run button, it would only give me those numbers that are greater than 60. So 61, 64 and 66. And if I also want numbers that are, say, less than 10, so I also want 8, right? So what I can do here is, so I want all the numbers greater than 60. I also want all the numbers less than 10. I have to use the OR function here, because if any number is greater than 60, it cannot be less than 10, and vice versa. So either the number should be greater than 60 or it should be less than 10. So once I click on the run button here, it now gives me 61, 64, 66 and 8. All right. This is how we do a subsetting or filtering of vectors in R. And we can also assign this as a variable greater than 60, less than 10. If I also want to know what is the index of these numbers, so 61, 64 and 66, they are the third, seventh and eighth number in this series. So how do I do that? There is a function called which, inside which if I just pass a greater than 60, so it will give me the index of all those numbers that are greater than 60. So if I execute this line, it will give me 3, 7 and 8. So this is the third index, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So this is how we get the index of the numbers that are greater than 60. Similarly, if we also want to find which index has the highest number, what we can do here is we can just type which.max and then pass a inside. Once we click on the run button, it would say the 8th index has got the maximum value. So which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the maximum value. Similarly, which.min would be giving us the minimum value. So the ninth index. So this is the ninth index and this has the minimum value. If we just type max of a, it would give the value as 66, which again is in the 8th index. And similarly, if we do min a, it would give us the value as 8. Alright, so that is what we have for random numbers and how we do various operations like sum, product, minimum, maximum, filtering, etc. in R. Let's try to do the same thing in Python now. In the case of Python, to generate random numbers, we would be using the numpy library. Import numpy as np. To generate random numbers, we type np.random random dot. If you click on the tab button, it will give you some pop-up, and in that we just have to select randint. And inside randint, what we will be entering is the lowest number, the highest number, and the size. That is, we want the numbers ranging from 1, which is the lowest number, and the highest number is 100, and we need 10 numbers. And so once we execute this, it will give us 10 random numbers. But just like we have in R or in any other language, if we keep executing this line every now and then, it will keep giving us different set of random numbers, as you must have observed now. All right. So let us assign it to a variable called a and then print a. So these are the 10 random numbers assigned to the variable a. Here also, as far as indexing is concerned and the filtering is concerned, it is very similar to what we have in R. R and Python have similar filtering functionality. So if I just want only those numbers that are greater than 60, I just have to type a greater than 60 inside the square bracket. And if I click on the run button, it will just give me 67 because the random numbers generated here are different from the random numbers generated in Python. And while over here, we only have one number that is greater than 60. All right. Now, if you also want to find how many numbers are greater than 50, a greater than 50, and how many numbers are say less than 10. So I think we just have one number which is less than 10. So if we want only those numbers to get printed, we have to put a OR function here and say a less than 10. However, when we do this, let me execute this and then I shall rectify this. So once I click on Shift plus Enter button, it throws an error. The truth value of an array with more than one element is ambiguous. So here inside the square bracket, it is not able to understand what exactly we have done here because there are quite a few things happening. So to make it easy for Python to understand, once we put them in the brackets, and now if we click on the execute button, so either the number should be greater than 50 or it should be less than 10. I cannot use the ampersand here. Ampersand actually means the AND operator. So it won't give us anything because any number cannot be greater than 50 and less than 10 at the same time. it can only satisfy one of these functions. So I put the pipe operator here, which is the OR function. So these are the four numbers that are greater than 50 and less than 10. Now, if I want to find the sum of all these numbers in the array A, all that I need to do is just type sum of A. I just need to put A inside the bracket. And once I click on the run button, it will give me 361. There is another way that I can do, which is A dot sum. So the method sum, if I click this, it would still give me 361. And there is a third way of doing it, which is np.sum, and inside the parenthesis I need to pass the variable a, which is the array. So all these methods would give us the same number. These are different ways of executing the sum. And similarly, to find the product of all these numbers, we just need to type np.prod and a inside the parenthesis, and it will give us the product of all these 10 numbers. So this is how we do all these operations in Python, mostly using the numpy library here. If we want to find out the index of the number that is the largest, so what we do here is we just type np.argmax, and inside the parenthesis we just type a, and once I click on the shift plus enter button, it would give me the index as 3. So let me type a again. So in all these numbers, 67 is the largest number, and the index is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that's how it gave us the argmax as 3. Similarly, if I type np.argmin of a and execute it, it would say the index is 4 because 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the least number. So that's how we get the index of the least number. To find the minimum of these numbers, we just have to type np.minimum of a, and similarly for maximum, np.max of a. So it would give us the minimum and maximum of this array a. Alright, that's all I have in this tutorial. I will also be sending you a list of questions that you can try on your own in the description below. Please try to solve them on your own, and in the next tutorial, we shall solve it together. Alright, I hope you are finding my tutorials interesting. If you have any doubts, questions, feedback, suggestions, please do share them in the comment section. See you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.